struggles that you are experiencing with your kid or kids or child or children? What are the common struggles that you are experiencing? It can be struggle with parenting, struggling with their attitude. So I want you to discuss this among yourselves. What are your experiences? What are the common struggles that I'm experiencing in parenting my kid or kids right now? Yeah. Just one question, you can discuss it right now. Just be giving you around 3 to 5 minutes to discuss this question. What are the common struggles that you're experiencing with your kids right now? And if somebody can assign one person just to write it down, just to summarize all of your thoughts, that would be great. If you put times up, I'm sorry to break your discussion. Thank you very much for participating. Nakakatawa po as I'm seeing your faces right now. I can see the enthusiasm and the activeness to really tell something about your child, your children. Nakakatawa po. Actually, I'm also handling a group of 12 young married couples. And every time we will be talking about our kids, I think the time limit that I gave you right now is really not enough. Maybe it could really take you like 1 hour, 2 hours to really just talk about your kids and the struggles that you are experiencing right now with your kids. So thank you very much for your participation. Later, I will be asking some of your insights about this. I'll just be sharing to you, I actually have 2 kids, as mentioned by Doc John. My eldest, a 12-year-old girl, and the other one is a 6-year-old boy. And they are really 2 different individuals. Why did I say this? My eldest, when she was a child, you can literally put my child in one place, let her sit down in one place, go back and have a grocery, and come back, my child is still there. But my youngest, my 6-year-old boy, I will put him in a chair. Maybe after 0.5 seconds, he will not be there already. It's really hyperactive. I don't know if it has something with my wife's pregnancy. Kasi my eldest child, my girl, when my wife is pregnant, she always listens to classical music. And she can actually feel the kick of my eldest child. But for my second, you know what my second child is enjoying? You know Crazy Frog? The Crazy Frog song? I used to search it in YouTube. What's a Crazy Frog song? Every time my wife would hear that Crazy Frog song, she doesn't know why my baby is always kicking. So maybe that's, is it something about the music that really played the role in the personality of my child? But, you know, really, who among you have more than one kid? One child. And you can really testify and tell me that each child is really different. Correct? And even your parenting style should be different to each and every one of them. My struggle right now with my eldest child, kasi nagdadalaga na siya, I actually asked my eldest, how can I be a better father to you? You know what my eldest child recently told me? Daddy, you know how can you be a better father to me? Stop treating me like a baby. Like you will kiss me, you will hug me in public. Don't do that anymore. What? Why? You're just 12. I'll be doing this until you're 30. But that is what my child is actually requesting to me right now. That's why whenever I will be dropping her in school, it's more, okay, take care, okay? You go and be safe. Okay? I cannot kiss her anymore. Yeah. And she's asking for independence on little things. So I'm just beginning to somehow not to really be hands off, but somehow give her independence to do the things that she wants to do, but with really good supervision. But my youngest, My real struggle with him is his hyperactivity. He's really hyper. And even in school, yeah, that's what the teacher is telling me. Alam mo, yung anak niyo, sir, he's really smart. But he cannot sit down in a chair for a long time. He needs to stand up, sometimes roam around. So that is what my child is actually doing. But we're starting to train him, and with the grace of the Lord, he's becoming more behaved, hopefully. Yeah? So those are the struggles that I'm experiencing with my children right now. So how about you guys? I just want to hear something from you. From this table, did you find something in common with the struggles that you're all experiencing?
Not listening.
Not listening. Okay? It's like a lot of people not listening. Number one. Yeah. Next one. Do you have any other thoughts? Not listening. Simon. Oh, opinion! Especially the Gen Zs. You cannot just tell them, you do this. This is what you need to do. Why? Why do I need to do this? Why do I need to do that? Yeah, you need to really have a good point on what you will be instructing them. Meron pa? Last one. Screen time. Who will agree that screen time is actually a problem with your kids? I didn't see a lot of people raising their hands, but I see a lot of people screen time. Yeah, using the gadgets, the cell phone. Those are actually the struggles that we are experiencing with our children right now. And katulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, it will really take you 1 or 2 hours or more to really discuss the struggles that you are experiencing as a parent. And with this chapter, every season counts, understanding the critical rhythms of life. We'll just be looking at a glimpse of not just our kids' life, but our own life as well. And how will it really play an important role, especially for us parents, on how we will be guiding our children in all the seasons of their life. I read this book about marriage from John and Lisa Bevere. If you're familiar with the story of marriage, they are showing that life, or they are illustrating that life is like a tree. Parang isang puno. That each life has its own time to flourish, to have lots of branches, lots of leaves, and also to bear fruit. So not every tree will grow together, bear its fruit, have many leaves, have many branches. And that's the same with our lives. We all have different seasons in our lives. I just want you to look at this illustration. Is there anyone here is more than 70 years old? Or 70 plus? Oh, we have a young crowd. 70 plus? Okay. How about the age of 60? Senior citizens. Who among you will not tell your age no matter what I tell you? It's okay. But all of you actually look young. Okay, I'm not just saying this to bluff you. I'm just saying this that most of us, maybe we are almost on the same age. Okay? So, I just want you to look at this every season counts illustration. That from age 0 to actually what age? 25. This is actually considered as the foundation period. Why age 25? Is it still foundation? Senior high school. Hanggang anong edad yung senior high school natin ngayon? I think until 18. 18 until what time? Up to 18. Then, college, maybe 22, 23. Yeah. So, this is actually true. It can still be considered as their foundation period. Next will be the success season. Yeah. They can actually go to work earlier than 25, But actually, success season, this is actually coming from 25 years old until 43, 44. Yeah, those are the success seasons. Then halftime. Who among you are at the age of 44, 48? So halftime. We'll be experiencing later yung ating, what's halftime? Is it like a basketball game? Is it okay not to work because it's halftime? Time to rest. Then, age 49 up to 70, this is actually the significance season. We'll be explaining later what's the significant season. Then, from 70 to 71, Lord willing, if we will be reaching that age, we will be at the finishing well season. Our children's lives are really important during this period, the foundation. This one, the foundation period. During the age of 0 to 25. I'm really thanking the Lord that I have a training with the World Needs a Father when my child is just 6, 7 years old. Because it really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I should be doing as a father, and even my wife as a mother as well. And this is actually really critical, the foundation years. And most of us, maybe, are still in this season, the success season. So what is success season? Actually, this is the season when you are in warrior mode. Can you still remember the first time that you went to your first job? That you're really so excited? Or the first time that you have a really good business? You open up a business, you're really enthusiastic. It's like you are in a warrior mode. It's all of your strength. I will be doing all the things that I need to do to be successful. Financially successful, or even in your career. I will be studying more and more to become successful. So this is actually the success season, that you are actually in a rushed life. It's like everything is passing on really quickly. And you have this passion. You are actually building your passion. What do I need to do? What do I want to do? And you're actually on that warrior mode. And you are starting to accept responsibility. What do I mean accepting responsibility? Sino dito ang nakakakilala kay Judith? You know Judith? Judith? Yeah. Every month you are meeting Judith. Yeah. Or Judith. Judith of the bills. Yeah. Judith. Yeah. Judith of whatever that you need to pay. You're actually accepting responsibility. Yeah. So don't you ever ignore Judith. Okay? You don't want to have a penalty. Yeah. Accepting responsibilities, and you're actually hyper-focused, and this is actually the time that we want to accumulate not just financial gain, but also maybe professional gain, or maybe things that will actually make us feel successful. And this is actually the period, the success season, where you are, when you are starting to plan to have your own family. Is there anyone here who is single? Single? Or who are married? Yeah? Who are married but you are waiting for your first child? Okay? Yeah? Okay, so all of us are married. All of us are married. Right? Okay. And most of us already have kids, right? Okay, that's good. Yeah. During this period of the success season, this is the time that you are actually planning to have your own family, own child. You're deciding who to marry, and usually once you're already married and you are planning to have your first child, do you still remember the preparations that you need to do in preparation for the birth of your eldest? We start buying a lot of things. It's like, for the first time that nakita mo, my wife is already positive with the pregnancy test. Oh, let's go to the doctor, let's confirm. Oh, it's confirmed, my wife is pregnant. You'll start buying diapers already. And you will start buying a lot of stuff already. Yeah, for your first child. And you will be thinking, oh, where will my child stay? I need to prepare the room. I need to prepare a lot of things. You do a lot of things, and at the end, you end up accumulating a lot of things that you realize, I don't need it pala. That's why, most of the time, they're saying that the second child is the black sheep of the family. You know why? Because all of the things that you have learned on your first child, all the things that you bought, you will not buy it anymore to your second child. And your second child will be the tagapagmana. Yeah, you know na tagapagmana. Tagapagmana of the clothes of your eldest child. I remember there's one friend na he told me, you know, because yung eldest niya is also a female, and then yung sumunod sa kanya is also a boy. You know what? I gave my child the handover Converse shoes of my eldest. You know what my second child said? Dad, why are you giving me these Converse? So the dad said, why? Can you see it's still in good condition? Dad, this Converse is pink. I'm a boy. Why are you giving me a pink Converse? You know what the dad said, or my friend said? You know, son, you will understand that real men wear pink. Kanina na lang, di ba? Parang, ano bang sinabi na lang na, sayang naman, you wear it. Don't worry, we'll just put some anime character in there so it will look more masculine. So, this is actually the period that we are actually preparing for a lot of things for our children. But here is the sad news, brothers and sisters. Sometimes we prepare financially, we actually prepare for the things that our children will be needing as they grow up. But we are not actually preparing for parenting. We are not preparing our emotions, we are not preparing our time, we are not preparing our physical strength, and even our spiritual strength in preparation for parenting. And I know you will agree with me that parenting is a tough job. Sometimes it's even tougher than your current job or your current business that you're experiencing. Parenting is really demanding a lot of effort and intentionality. And this is actually what's happening on the last part of your success season. So we start, it's either we will be starting to yearn for more than success. We face questions like, what have I lost with all that I have gained? And what could I lose in order to gain in the future? We also realize that we don't just want achievements, we want to leave a legacy. And we ask ourselves, what is stopping me from engaging in my true calling? I don't know if you have this experience already, that you're actually doing all the efforts that you want to do to reach the top of your career. But in the end, you're thinking, is this really what I want to do? Is this really what I want to become until I grow up? Or until I die? Is this what I really want to do with my life? And that is actually where the halftime is coming. Some of the people will experience halftime in their 40s. Some maybe on their late 40s. So some people, even though they already achieved success, they're thinking, is this really what I want to do? And that also happens in our parenting. What did I do wrong? Why my child is acting like that? Is there something during the foundation years that I did something wrong? I did not focus enough for my child to become like that? This is the saddest reality, co-parents, brothers and sisters. I like this quotation from Dwight L. Moody. He said, "Our greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding at something that doesn't really matter." Co-parents, mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters, how will you define success right now? What is your priority in life right now? Most of the time, when I ask this question, parents will say, my priority is my children. They are my priorities. That's why I'm working hard. I'm working and doing all the things that I must do to give my children a good future. But is that really what matters most to your children? Breaking down the foundational years. So it says here that Pastor Cassie actually consulted a psychologist and he did a lot of research about the effects of mothers and fathers, even the peers, to the children during their foundation years. So it started with from 0 to 5. It says here that the mother will be having the greatest impact to their children. Oh, the father is good. 0 to 5. I can take a break. 0 to 5, mother. Okay, it's your role. Okay, I will not do anything muna. No, that's not the case. So why are we saying that from 0 to 5, this is actually the mother impact stage? Here in the Philippines, because I'm working in HR, here in the Philippines, we have 105 approved maternity leaves for our pregnant women who will be giving birth, and as long as they will be also be enrolled with the social security system of our country. So 105 days ang maternity leave po ngayon. In some countries, it's even more. I think there's other countries na 3 months, 6 months. I'm here 6 months. In Australia, can you imagine? How I wish that I will be a girl to be pregnant and be on vacation for 6 months. And so why is Pastor Cassie saying that 0 to 5 years old will be the mother impact years? Actually, this is the time where your children will be developing not just intellectually but more on physically as well. I just want you to show you this MRI scan. Do we have doctors here aside from Dr. John? Do we have doctors here? Yeah, we have doctors. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So, according to the medical field, from birth to 14 months or 2 years old, this is actually the development of a child's brain. From this small to that big, 3 months, 7 months, 14 months. Can you imagine the size difference from birth to 14 months? And it says that 75% of the physical condition of the baby will actually be focused on brain development at this stage, 0 to 14 years old. Then I want to show you this illustration. This is actually a comparison between a healthy brain and an abused brain. Can you imagine? Just try to imagine your child, 0 years old until 2 years old. This one shows all of the activities of the brain, from most active to the least active, which are the black ones. And temporal lobes, I think, this has a really major function. Yeah. Big major function in the development or in the function of the brain, so the temporal lobes. If you will be seeing here, for a healthy brain, this is actually also a scan of a happy brain and a sad brain. So the happy brain, if you will be seeing in here, there's a lot of good activities in here. But in an abused brain, what color is that? Small greens, yellows, red, but mostly black. So this is actually science already telling us that fatherlessness or motherlessness has a great impact physically on just the development of your child. I remember when I was still practicing nursing in the hospital, I work in the operating room, also with the cardiac cath. Then, from time to time, we are also going to the delivery room, especially when there's a cesarean section that is being done. Palagi mo sasabihin ng doctor, pagka nanganak na yung mother, okay, you get the baby and then put it on the shoulders or in the breast of the mother. Mga mothers, did you have that experience? Pagkapanganak, diba yun ang isa sa mga priority is that your child will be put in your shoulder, in your breast. Actually, that has a really big effect on the development of your child. Because it says yung small touches, physical touch, and maybe some of the activities that actually gives us a positive mood, that actually releases the chemical called oxytocin. Oxytocin is like your happy hormones. So if your wife or if your husband is not really looking happy, you just tell your husband in your mind, you know what? Maybe you're just lack of oxytocin. Maybe lalong magalit. At least you learned something new today. At least even if you don't remember your ating module, at least you remember something today. Oxytocin, okay? So if your child or if your husband or wife is sad, maybe you're not oxytocin. No, but kidding aside. So this really played a lot of mothers really played a big role in the development of our child. If you will be seeing it here, this actually I learned it also in our psychology class. That at the age 1, your children will start to develop intimacy, trust or mistrust. Then at the age of 2 or 3, that's the time that your child is already starting to do things on her own, maybe starting to sit down, or starting to walk, and this is the time that the mother impact really play a big role at this age. The next is 4, industry or inferiority. Then 5 are the strengths or strengths of your child. This is the time that you will be seeing your child, oh, I think you have a talent in music. Or I think you have a talent in math. So the mother really plays a big impact during these years. Why am I saying, or why did Pastor Cassie say that the mothers will really play a big impact during these years? Guys, listen to me. Admit it or not, mas loving ang mga mothers. Oh, I can see some friends saying yes. Okay? Yeah? Do you agree? Mothers are more touchy. Mothers are more intimate with their children. Am I correct?
Yes.
The majority, right? And that is what actually your child needs. And that during this time, you want to put as much as oxytocin for the development of your child. Give her happy moments, give her the guidance, give her the love that you actually need for her to develop better or to reach the best of her potential. So how about the dads? The dad is working. Yeah, he needs to work to buy the formula milk or to buy the needs of the baby. No, that's not your primary role during this time. Dads, you need to make sure that your wife is also in a good mood every day. Do you agree? It's like some of your son. You need to make sure that your wife is actually feeling good every day because she is the one who has a big role in this part. Can you imagine that if you will be giving some heartaches to your wife, can you imagine also that effect to your children? I remember Pastor Cassie told me, and actually this really uh, hit my heart and my mind. Most of the time, husbands, we want to be the king of the house, right? We want to be like the boss of the house. But sometimes, you are forgetting to treat your wife like a queen. Okay? So during this time, it's really important that fathers, husbands, you need to make sure to make your wife feel good and be treated like a queen, especially during this period. That your child is at the 0 to 5 years old. So, from 6 to 11, this is actually where the father really makes a big impact to the lives of your children. This is where you will build security competencies, the body and soul and spirit, sexuality. Remember earlier, I mentioned that there's already a big percentage of teenage pregnancy from the age of 14 and up. That's why the government, our Philippine government, is really putting an effort to really educate our children about sexuality. I remember my eldest, she was able to talk to my wife and ask about the private parts of a male and a female. And how babies are born, how it is made at the age of 10. So my wife, oh, where did you learn that? Oh, Mommy, we were already discussing this one in school. So your kids, don't be surprised that they already have an idea about sexuality. Aside from it is being taught in school, they can actually learn that just by clicking something on your devices. So what is the father's role during this time? Earlier, I asked you, what are the common struggles that you are experiencing with your kids? So you told me, one of the factors is screen time. Tama? Sabi niyo sa akin, it's screen time. Can you imagine that fathers, I will be talking to you at this time. How many hours are you spending at work? 8? 9 hours? If you will be counting the travel time, maybe it's more. Then, once you go home, what do you actually do? I'll not be forcing you to answer it. I'll just be asking you, what do you actually do? Are you this kind of father that when you arrive home, the first thing that you will be doing, oh, kamusta? You will be asking your kids, how's school? That's the main tagline, or the first question that you always ask, how's school? How are you? Then, the child will answer, and that's it. End of conversation. Maybe you just spend 1 or 2 minutes talking to your child. Then, you will be reaching out your phone. This time, I can see myself like this before I started my training with the World Needs a Father. There was a time in my life that I was really struggling with my career because I was able to work abroad already as a nurse, but I need to come back here in the Philippines because even though there's FaceTime, there's Skype during that time, there was one time that I had my vacation and I'm in one room together with my daughter. And my daughter, I think my daughter was around 3 years old during that time, 3 or 4. And she was really trying hard. It's like I was a complete stranger to my daughter. And then my wife and I decided, you know what? We need to think. Because I was working in the Middle East, there's no way that I will be able to bring my family in the Middle East, and it's a Muslim country. It's definitely a no-no for my wife during that time. So I went back to the Philippines. I decided for us to stay here, and finding a job was really hard for me during that time. I was a nurse and I had a good experience, but I cannot find a job. It's like all of the hospitals during that time, it's like today. It's like the hospitals are really encouraging, oh, we need nurses, we need medical professionals right now, we are not sure. But during that time, when I went back in the Philippines, it's like nobody would like to hire me. It's like they were just telling me, if we will be hiring you, we cannot provide the salary that you are earning before, maybe you will just be going abroad again. So that was the period that I really had some struggles with my career. And I really need to find a job. So I need to provide something for my family. So I went to a BPO or a call center, and which is really outside of my comfort zone. But that's the fastest way for me to get a job. So I was hired at a BPO for a telecom company which is handling billings. Can you imagine? You are handling an account that is related to billing. Whenever you have a good bill, you don't have a problem with your bill. When you be calling the company or call center, oh, thank you for the bill that you have sent me. It was really done perfectly. And even the small deductions are there. Thank you very much. When you be calling, of course not. You will be calling the company because you have a problem with your billing. Am I right? And every day I'm facing calls like that. You know, my grandparents, and even my father and my mother, I really seldom. It's like I cannot remember that they use cursed words on me. It's just when I work at the BPO, that is the time that every day I'm hearing cursed words. Good thing it's Australian accent. It's not Filipino. So, hindi medyo masakit sa tenga. Medyo social na konti with accent ba. And I was carrying that burden when I arrived home. And when I arrived home, you know what I'm thinking? I was so stressed with my work. I need some time with myself. I need to relax. I will be getting up my iPad. I will be getting up my cell phone, and I will play, or I will be asking my wife and my kids, oh, let's watch something. I need to relax. You know what? I was really unfair with my wife and my daughter. Because I was robbing them. Robbing them of what? You're already working for your family, but you're robbing them of what? I'm robbing them of the time they should be spending with my daughter, with my wife. I was so selfish. I'm admitting it. I'm even sharing it to my other group mates in our couples group. I was really selfish. But good thing, the Lord found me, He changed me. And the world needs a father actually really helped me. And I was being unfair. Made me realize I was really being unfair with my children. Are you this kind of father? Or are you this kind of mother? That your child is already shouting, Mommy, Mommy, I need to talk to you, I need to tell you something. But you're actually busy with your phone. You're actually busy with something. Can you just wait? I just need to do this. Your child is already shouting. But whenever you hear something in your phone, shout out. Wait. Today is 9:09. Yeah, I need to check it. It's like you're hearing your phone. Grab it quickly. Whenever you hear that. Or whenever you hear a thing in your cell phone. You pick it up immediately, but your child is already shouting. Already asking your attention, but you're not giving. So don't be surprised if your child is also like this. On the cell phone, most of the time. This is actually one of the greatest creation of human, but but also this is one of the greatest distraction of a human. Sometimes parents are replacing parenting with this one. I was guilty. My wife was also guilty during this time. It's the most comfortable thing to do. Just give the phone to your child. Stay quiet. Run out. But this is actually not the design of our Lord for our child. So don't be surprised. Now try to assess, where did I go wrong? Why is my child really spending a lot of time with the gadgets? Let's check ourselves as well. Are we really letting our cell phones parent our children? I saw this from a church that is saying that love is not just spelled as L-O-V. Actually, love is spelled as T-I-M. Time. And fathers, during the time of 6-year-old to 11, this is actually the time that we really need to be intentional in giving time for our children. This is actually the time that we are preparing them for the next stage of their life, or the next season, which is already the peer season. So the culture, the values, the life skills, this is actually the time from 6 to 11. This is actually the time that is critical, that we really need to impart the values that our children needs, or what we want our children to have. These are actually the effects of father involvement. That infants of highly involved fathers are more cognitively competent at the age of 6. At school age, children of involved fathers are also better academic achievers. And fathers talk with toddlers is characterized by more what, where, and etc. questions, which requires children to assume more communicative responsibility in the interaction. So fathers, if you are not spending a lot of time talking to your children, stop doing it. You really need to spend more time talking to them. Right now, my child or my children, whenever I will be coming at home, nasa mga bed na sila. They are ready to sleep na kasi they will be going to school really early in the morning. So at 8 o'clock, they really need to sleep na. So whenever I will be going home and I will be still arriving, gising yung aking mga children, what I really do is to really spend time talking to them. Even pray with them. And in the morning, I really need to make a conversation. Especially on my daughter, I really need to make a conversation with her. I really need to initiate a conversation with her. And you know what? It's not easy. Fathers, it's not easy. You really need to be intentional on doing this. Pastor Cassidy said during our training, you know what's the biggest lie that fathers usually tell? Is that I don't have time. I'm so busy. We can do this some other time, but not now. I don't have time. That's the biggest lie that you can say to your children or to your wife. Because time is free and it will never end. It's infinite as long as we're alive. There's always time. It's just that what is the priority, or who is the priority of your time? If you are saying that your children is the priority of your time, of your life, you give them time. Even sa emotional development and well-being of our children, that dads or fathers really play a big role or has a great effect in the emotional development and well-being of your children. If you will be looking at your modules, all of these things are included in there. Social development, even their social skills, will really play great effect on the development of your children. Like I told earlier, it's like my grandfather or my grandparents, sila yung talagang nagpalaki sa akin. They are the ones who were really intentional. Both of them are already in heaven, but they are the one who is really intentional in parenting me. My father is an overseas contract worker for a long time. And my mother is just a plain housewife. But it's just that it happens that when my mother was giving birth to me, and after a few days, she developed measles. So I really need to be moved away from her during this time. And that's the reason why I was brought to my grandparents. And my mother was 18 and my father was 19 during that time. So they're one of the teenage pregnancy. That's at least they say. So it happens. It's actually the will of the Lord. But why am I saying for the social development of your child? I remember my father. Just for the record, I have forgiven my father for all the hurts that he has given me, and we actually have a good relationship with him. Now, on the next sessions, Reverend Jacob Bonsuelo will be talking about father wounds, mother wounds. You will be understanding that even more. But during this time, when my father will be arriving from abroad, going here to the Philippines, I was not excited. I was really not excited. You know why? Because I know it's like something was embedded to my brain that when my father will come home, he will spank me. And there was one moment in my life that I did something bad, and I was actually asked to, di ko alam ang English yung pinatipa. You know that yung pinatipa? It's like you were asked to kneel doon sa semento. You were asked to kneel and then you put your hands like this. And this happened actually in front of our gate. So in front of our gate, people are seeing me being punished. And it's like during that time, I became timid. Can you imagine? Will you believe that I'm timid before? It's like I'm not really comfortable at talking to a lot of people. And even talking to somebody that I will be passing through. It's like I'm always like this. Before. And it really, that gesture that my dad did, I think really played a big role in my social development. So the Lord is really just gracious to me, and He helped me overcome those fears that I faced in the past. I will not be reading this one by one. You can actually read it in your module. We'll just be saying that social development is really important in the development of your child, and fathers really need to be involved in this. Next is physical development. Remember our first slide for the teenage pregnancies. If a teenage mother becomes pregnant, she will not be able to provide for the needs of her child. And the child actually needs a lot of food during the early stage of her life, because that's the time that she will be getting nourishment for her physical development. This is actually the effect of fatherlessness. If the father is absent and he is not a good provider and he is not giving the needs, physical needs of their children, they will not be reaching their full potential. Now, I just want us to focus on this one, the spiritual development of our children. So why is this really important, the spiritual development of our children? As I mentioned earlier, that from 6 to 11, this is the time that fathers really need to be intentional with their children. This is the time that you will be inculcating your values. And this is also the best time for you to really introduce Jesus Christ in their lives. Why am I saying this? One of the goal of the world needs a father is to naturally bring heaven home. There's one story of a child who had nightmares one evening. And he was really crying. He was really crying that all of these nightmares are really coming to his brain while he is sleeping. So he shouted. So the child shouted, and the father heard the cry of the child. So he went to his room. And the father said, "Son, what happened?" "Dad, I had a lot of nightmares. It's like I cannot sleep anymore." The dad said, "Don't worry. God is with you. God is with you. You just need to pray. God is with you and He will help you not to have these nightmares." You know what the child said? "Dad, I know that God is true and He will help me. But during this time, I need a God with skin on. I need you, Dad, to be here. Physically, I need you to be here with me. I need to feel your presence. I need you." And that is where spirituality is really important. We really need to be there. That we are the leaders of our household. And we really need to teach our children who to believe, what they should believe, and the importance of Jesus Christ in their lives. Fatherlessness is not just being not physically present, but an absent father also portrays an absent God. There was a study that 6-year-olds will usually have a image of God based on the image of their physical fathers. The disconnected father portrays a disconnected God. The permissive father portrays a permissive God. The neglecting father portrays a neglecting God. The emotional father portrays an emotional God. The illustration that I told earlier, the story that I told earlier, what would you think if the child did not experience the physical warmth of his father when he had this love? If the father would just say, "No, just believe in God, pray, stay there in your room," then the father will go. Do you think the child will believe that God is really real? That's why the impact of the fathers are really important. Fathers, mothers, we are actually God with skin on to our children. This is a study that was done by the National Study of Youth and Religion in the US. It says here, teenagers tend to share beliefs similar to their parents, subscribe to the same religious tradition, and attend religious services with a similar frequency. Parents have more sway over the religious lives of their children than is often perceived. Some of us will be thinking, oh, that child is always attending church. I'm sure that boy or that girl will grow up to be spiritual. But parents, you are the ones who have the most influence on the beliefs, the religious beliefs, the faith of your children. While many churches have focused on the educational content of Sunday school, youth group meetings, and small group Bible studies, the study suggests that the hidden curriculum of parental lives is the most powerful religious curriculum of all. We are saying that parents, mothers, and fathers are God with skin on. Inside the home, inside your house, are you really portraying God? A loving God, a merciful God, emotional God? Because we can be here in the church every Sunday. You can actually bring your kids. Actually, this is good that you're actually bringing your kids because they know that you're actually attending something for the development of your relationship with Jesus Christ. But my question, how are you portraying Jesus Christ inside of you? That's why we are hearing a lot of stories. People or youth growing up in church, knowing about Jesus Christ in Sunday schools, but why are they ending up in a bad situation? Why are they ending up being broken? Why they are ending up sometimes in jail, being involved in a lot of crimes? It's because it's not the church's responsibility. The structure, it's not the church's responsibility, the primary responsibility to really pass on the faith to your children. It's actually us parents. We have that big responsibility and role for the development of the spirituality of our children. Now, at the age of 12 to 18, this is the time that they will be having more time with their peers. I told you before, di ba yung aking daughter, she doesn't want to be treated like a baby anymore. She wants independence. And she's actually will be spending more time with the peers. Parents, if we are not successful in inculcating our faith, our values to our children during the foundational years from 0 to 11, maybe 0 to 12, you will be having a hard time during this time, the peer review, especially if the peers will not be putting your child in a good influence. That's why, kanina yung naging study natin, yung pinakita kong study sa inyo, juvenile crimes. The study in Tarlac, most of them are coming from broken families. Fatherlessness, motherlessness. The one who influenced them to do the crime are their peers. So again, during this time, 19 to 21, before they will be actually going to the success season of their lives, it will actually go back to the fathers, the fatherly impact during this time. Why are we saying that it will actually go back to the fathers? Because during this time, your child or your children will have that question in their mind, what will I do next, preparing to adulthood? Now the question, for those parents who already have adults or adult children, did they consult you on what they will be doing next in their lives? Dad, I'm having some troubles with my friends. What should I do? Dad, I'm just having some issues with my life right now. What should I do? Did you actually experience them? Especially when it comes to sexuality. This is actually really important. How I wish that during the time when I was struggling with pornography, I should have, or I have a dad who will really be helping me overcome pornography during those situations. So, with the grace of the Lord, He helped me overcome pornography during my younger days. But can you imagine your child learning about sexuality in their mobile phones? Watching something that you know you don't like. And then if they ask you, Dad, I found something. What is this? Right? What are you doing? It's like you will be just scolding your child. Right? Don't watch that. You know it's bad. Sometimes our response really play a big role for our children to open up really sensitive topics sa atin. Right now, in our young married couples group, even in our church, because if we are talking about sex, sexuality, that's like taboo. It's not a topic that should be discussed inside the church. But right now, we are actually transitioning that we are actually discussing about the struggles with pornography, struggles with premarital sex. Because this is actually the best place. Our home should be the best place to talk about this. And we know better. We know we know that we had that struggle before. And by the grace of the Lord, we know that your children can also help you overcome those struggles. So it's better for your children to learn the sensitive topics inside the house than them learning in their peers. Them learning in the mobile gadgets. If you're familiar with Brad Huddleston, he has a book called Digital Cocaine. This is just saying that really cell phones, gadgets really play a bad role. It's like an addiction. Yeah, it's like when you are taking drugs and dopamine is starting to kick in into your brain and you are actually finding satisfaction in browsing your mobile phones. That is actually what Brad Huddleston is talking about. It's about digital cocaine. So if you have time to go to the bookstore, actually this is a good book, Digital Cocaine. There were already seminars here in the Philippines. If you will be hearing Brad Huddleston talking about digital cocaine, I think it's worth investing, attending this seminar as well. Now, we'll be looking at this one. Because after the foundational years, the success years, the halftime, you already decided what you want to do with your life. This is actually the time that you will be going to the significant season. And during the significant season, there are three things that will happen. It's either you will have influence, as you can see, the line is going up, or indifference, just a straight line, or indulgence. Indifference is you will have regret, little satisfaction, apathetic, avoidance, and status quo. It's like your significant stage is like, I want to do that, but I'm just really contented with this one. It's like you're not really making a great impact into the society or in your family. Just this, I will not change anymore. Or you will have indulgence. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy all the things that I worked for in my life. But really ending up at the end, that is really not what you really want to do. That is not really success for you. So what we want to actually have is this one, influence. It's the transformation of others, or broad perspective, and growing influence. Brothers and sisters, how do you want to be remembered when you are already in heaven, when you die? How do you want people to remember you? How do you want your family to remember you? I was telling Pastor Jen, because actually we knew each other because of my wife. I was telling Pastor Jim about the situation of my father-in-law right now. Because my father-in-law, as of this date, is in the hospital, intubated in the ICU, and experiencing difficulty breathing and really not stable vital signs. So my wife and her sister, she have two sisters, and my mother-in-law, they are really preparing for the worst thing that could happen. Well, just to tell you a quick story, my father-in-law is jumper during his early days. He is a heavy smoker. That's why he is now in the hospital. It's because of his COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's like his lungs is not normally functioning anymore. There was a moment that he was a womanizer, and he was not an intentional father. And I know that my wife and my sister-in-laws really have a fatherhood in their hearts. Also, at the later stage of their marriage life, he is really not very supportive for my mother-in-law's activities in the church. It's like he's the one, why would you be going to church? You should be here in the house to stay with me. So my father-in-law is like that. But I really thank the Lord that He did not took my father-in-law in a snap. It's like there's no opportunity anymore. It's like just one snap in this life. He is now in the hospital. He was not able to talk anymore because he is intubated. And I really thank the Lord because right now he has peace in his life. And he is now prepared to meet his Creator. We know already that there is already assurance of salvation in his life. And the thing is, there was also a time that my wife and her sister-in-laws and my mother-in-law were able to talk to him, to say sorry. And for my father-in-law, even though he is not able to talk, they know that he is very sorry for all the bad things that he did. Now, can you imagine if we're not intentional with our children? We will have regrets for sure. Then, if we are already lying in our deathbed, intubated, you are not able to talk anymore. How you wish you could have said, I love you. You could have done better. You could have said sorry to your children. I know, brothers and sisters, this morning is not an accident. You are all here for a reason. And I know that He wants to build a better family, a better household in each and every one of us. If fathers are the source of the problem, they need to be the source of the solution. Not just fathers, also mothers as well. So this is our goal for the rest of our trainings for the world needs a father, is for us to have from self-orientation to a godly orientation. For us to have from worldly values to kingdom values. From self-love to selfless and sacrificial love. And from individualism to communal accountability. As we end today's session, I want you to watch this quick video. And hopefully this will be reminding us that time is really important. And the time is really now for us to be intentional in our worship.
ข้าวกับแกงไงทำไมพ่อกินนู่นไม่ได้เลยเปล่าเราก็กินดูสิพ่อเป็นอะไรหรือเปล่าป่วยหรือเปล่าหรือพ่อไม่สบายอะไรพ่อขยันมากินข้าวกับแกแก้ตัววะนะใช่พ่อรู้สึกว่าเมื่อก่อนพ่อน่าจะมีเวลาให้กับแกบ้างแล้วช่วงนี้แกทำอะไรอยู่งานอยู่หรือเปล่ายุ่งเหมือนเดิมพ่อมันมีหนังเก่าที่กำลังจะมาทำใหม่พ่ออยากไปดูกับลูกนั่นแหละอันนี้ไม่ได้เลยพ่อคิวแน่นมากช่วงนี้ผมต้องทำงานหาเงินไม่เป็นไรตอนนี้กี่โมงแล้วล่ะพ่อก็มีนาฬิกา3 ทุ่มครึ่งครับโอเคงั้นต้องหลับแล้วพ่อยังอยากดูหนังเรื่องนั้นอยู่ป่ะดูได้แล้วครับก็พ่อขอโทษที่พ่อพิมพ์ดันเหมือนเดิมอีกแล้วพ่อแค่อยากใช้ช่วงเวลาสุดท้ายของชีวิตเพื่อที่จะบอกลูกว่าเวลามันมีค่าแค่ไหนซึ่งพ่อก็ได้สูญเสียช่วงเวลาดีๆเกือบทั้งชีวิตไปกับการทุ่มทำงานหาเงินแต่กุมภา23 2 ทุ่มพ่อไปไม่ทันวันที่แกเกิด6 มิถุนายน 25 บ่าย 2ก้าวแรกของแกที่พ่อเรียน9 สิงหาคม 7 โมงเช้าพ่อไปไม่ทันส่งแกเข้าเรียนวันแรกแต่กุมภาพันธ์พ่อไม่ได้อยู่ฉลองวันเกิด5 ขวบของแก25 พฤษภาคม 11 โมงพ่อไปไม่ทันดูหนังเรื่องแรกของเรา ผิดและแกเกือบตลอดชีวิตไปกับการทุ่มทำงานเพราะคิดว่ามันจะช่วยให้ชีวิตเราดีขึ้นซึ่งพ่อคิดผิดมาตลอดเราควรให้เวลากับคนที่เรารักให้มากที่สุดเพราะเงินไม่สามารถซื้อความสุขที่แท้จริงได้พ่อขอโทษอย่าทำผิดเหมือนพ่อนะ
อะไรอยู่ครับคนเก่ง
จริงเหรอครับเย้
Says here, why have I missed it? If we get distracted in our own interests throughout life, the specific windows of opportunity for biggest impact on the lives of our children are very easy to miss. We could wake up one day with regrets and having missed all the best moments to invest in our children. So it's never too late, brothers and sisters. You still have time. You can still catch up if you miss something. But we need to be intentional in the time is now. I'd like you to join me in a quick prayer. Our Father in heaven, we thank you because you are the best example of love, the best illustration of unconditional love that we can never experience. We thank you for our Lord Jesus Christ, for giving His life for each and every one of us. And we know that today, at this moment, this is not an accident because you have a purpose for the lives of each and every one of us right now. Father God, forgive us. We know that our family is a gift, our children, our marriages is a gift coming from you. Forgive us if we are not being intentional in taking care of it. Thank you for reminding us that we have a big role to play as fathers to our children. Help us to become more intentional, to give more time, and to really do the best that we could. Not just for providing for the needs of our family, but to be really there, to be really of support, to show our kids that we are God with skin on, a loving God, a merciful God, a gracious God. We thank you. We dedicate to you this time. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much po for your time, for your participation this morning. And hopefully we'll be seeing each other together with Pastor Jebo as well on the next sessions of The World Needs a Father worship.
Okay. So again, I hope na talagang worthwhile ang inyong pagpunta dito on our first day of family care. So again, let's thank Deacon Aaron. Before I let each of one of you go, let's open the floor now to some questions. No, baka meron kayong question in mind that you would want to ask our speaker. Anything. It can be related to the topic ngayon, or meron kayong parenting question that you want to ask.
Wag lang po math. Because I really don't like math.
Anyone who would like to ask?
Yung hindi po makakatulog ngayong gabi pag hindi nagtanong. Kasi yung question na yan, ibabahuli ninyo sa next session with Pastor Jebo.
Yung gustong magtanong kung paano ba humingi ng date sa anak. Kaya, di ba? Ganyan sa Biblia na meron natin. Any questions? Sure kayo? Maglalabas na ako ng
Sige po. Ako nahiya lang mong tanong.
Who wants to have a date with your kid? Ayan. Okay. Come here. Pwede naman tanong. May pang-date na kayo. Kami na ang susuporta sa pang-date sa inyong anak.
So win-win situation po yun, no, Doc John? May question na ma-address at may take out.
Question regarding sexuality.
Yes.
Regardless pa siya kung boy or girl. Kasi parang ako, may daughter yung parang complex siya. Sagutin ko kung tatanong siya sa regarding sexuality.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I understand. Actually, it's better for if you have a daughter, your wife should be the one to explain this. So ako din, yung aking son, it's better that I will be the one to explain this to you. Kasi physically, mas makaka-relate. But it doesn't limit there. Kasi you can actually also tell your struggles and victories dun sa anak mo. Actually, that is one of the most effective thing to do. If you have a struggle, and God already helped you to overcome those struggles. Also, when it comes to sexuality, it's really important to really be direct to the point, but in terms that it will not sound like masagwa or bastos. Kasi there are already terminologies, and they're learning that one in school. And I think it's really important that we give them the biblical principle of sex and sexuality that is in the context of marriage. Ako yun ang pinagpapasalamat ko that my daughter is really having that orientation that sexual activities are just for married people. And that's actually God's gift. And kung meron man sila mapapanood, meron man sila makikita, manalaman, if they already have that orientation and values, then that is a gift of God in the context of marriage. They will be putting that in their hearts and in their minds.
Okay. I have two more.
Question
Who would want to
question.
ask? Sino? Ay, pagbala sa akin.
Pag-joke, hindi ba ako magtanong?
Any more questions?
Question.
You mentioned earlier, diba, that you grew up with your grandparents. So, what do you think is more effective? Is it growing up with your parents na teenage, teenage pregnancy, or growing up with your grandparents? What do you think is more effective for lives?
Well, I'm really thankful sa aking mga grandparents. Because, to tell you honestly, my mother and my father, they were not really intentional when it comes to really parenting as what we are discussing. But my grandparents, so my grandmother, she is the one who really influenced me about my faith in Jesus Christ. And my grandfather, he is actually the one who really influenced me on how to become a gentleman. on the real values of becoming respectful and at the same time on becoming considerate with other people. That's why I'm really happy if there are grandparents who are actually attending also this training. Because you can actually make an impact to your grandchildren. It doesn't limit, of course, there are certain limitations that you cannot overcome, you cannot bypass with the authority of your children or with the parents of your grandchildren. But grandparents, you can actually make good impact, great impact to your grandchildren. So with the question of sir, on my case, so really my grandparents were really the one who had a greater impact and had a better parenting sa akin. Pero, like what I said, lahat po tayo, we have a role to play dun sa ating parents. If we are parents right now listening to this, and if we are not intentional, we really need to do this. Grandparents, if you're seeing that your children are not doing, or if your children who are parents, or nandito na, no? O yung inyong mga anak, o magulang ng inyong mga apo are not being intentional, maybe it's time for you also to talk to them. That's why the world needs a father, it's not a topic, it's actually a movement. So we really need to be intentional on really inculcating what we have learned and passing it to the next generation.
Alright. Okay, so I'll give the floor.
There. last one naman Dr. John, si ano? Last na. Oh, ready ba daw?
My daughter is a typical Gen Z,
Yes.
so she is very sympathetic to the somehow discriminated groups such as LGBT. And somehow she also shared the current definition of what gender means. What I mean. So how do I talk to her about that or influence her? And sometimes kasi minsan becomes a point of argument for us.
But this is actually a problem that we're having with Gen Zs right now. Kasi Gen Zs, they have an access to a lot of information already. Also, in our world, there's a lot of things that is not being accepted before, but it's starting to be accepted right now. I attended this seminar by Francis Fong, and he said, right now, it's like what's happening, there's no actually an absolute truth anymore. And the absolute truth should always be the Bible. So what we can do with this, sir, I also have a Gen Z. I know that there's already some gender definitions or different gender preferences, but we need to still go back to what the Bible said. So that's the one that we really need to teach our children. What's God's design for a man and a woman? So we always go back to the absolute truth. And at the same time, because this is what I hear on most LGBT communities. It's like you will not be directly saying to your daughter that, oh, stay away from the LGBTs. But what we need actually for the LGBTs is actually compassion, but not compromise. Because that is what LGBT communities are actually intending. It's like they are being cast out, especially from religious group. They are treated like not human. It's like they are really sinful. But what we actually need to show them is, like what we said, we need to be God with skin on. We need to really be Jesus Christ with skin on. Still have compassion with them. If we will not tolerate what they are doing, but if we will be correcting them, we will not do that. So, my real answer, sir, we go back to the context of the Bible. I think that's the one that we really need to teach our Gen Z children.